Hey folks, welcome back to Let's Play Nobunaga's Ambition Sphere of Influence. Third playthrough for the channel. I'm the Mysterious JG. So since the last time I recorded, I've actually made an announcement about what's been going on with my my health. Haven't actually gone into therapy yet. That's in a couple of days. But I also, Bobo pointed out, I made a mistake in my character of Vulture BB. So I went back and changed Vulture BB. Like, I had forgotten to make Vulture Bobo his father. He's just, he's got everything right except I didn't set the familial connection that I meant to. So that, coupled with I kind of felt like playing the game and not like recording. I've done a bunch of turns on a different save slot where I wasn't like carefully I was like just really blitzing through turns in a way I don't usually do when I'm recording, because I wasn't talking obviously about anything that was going on. It's just like, and I was trying to see if I could advance the game really quickly to a point where Vulture Bronco and Vulture BB would appear, to see whether or not a change I made to the created officer after this game had started would actually be reflected in the game. And I have not been able to advance time that far because he's not going to be born for, years. But I did kind of find out something interesting. The historical quests we're doing, they're going to work up to a point. But something is happening over here which maybe won't happen this time. Oh, I see Yasuke is here. But something is happening. The Imagawa are supposed to, and the Matsudaira are kind of like their subordinate clan. The Imagawa, we've got plot events coming up. For those of you who know the history, will eventually be forming a tripartite alliance. The Takeda, the Imagawa, and the Hojo will form a three-way alliance. This is extremely problematic if you're playing as any of the other clans in this region. And even years ago, playing a game as the... they didn't have the Matsudaira, they had them as Imagawa City. So I was running into problems playing a different Nobunaga's Ambition game years ago, because if I tried to do anything as the Oda to counterattack the Imagawa, they kept attacking me. But if I tried to counterattack, the Takeda would come in and stop me, because these three are aligned in several scenarios. So we can get up to that point, but what's supposed to happen to really shake up the history, what really kind of kicks off, like my favorite video game telling of these events is still Samurai Warriors 2. Samurai Warriors 2, most of the stories really start with the Battle of Okehazama. That's where Nobunaga Oda, he's got the Imagawa, they are marching towards Kyoto, which is, I think Kannoji Castle represents Kyoto in this game. I'm not sure exactly which castle represents Kyoto. I think it might be Kannoji Castle. Because it is a pretty high-end base. Anyway, to win this game, you have to... there's a whole long thing I could get in. I'll try to save it for another video. To win the game, you really need to take Kyoto and hold a big chunk of the map. Because, realistically, no daimyo was going to be able to actively consider them. Like, they couldn't really project power across the whole country unless they held the imperial court, which is located in Kyoto. But they also, they couldn't be like a little penny ante clan like these guys here. Yeah, that little symbol there, I think that's the capital. Oh no, that just indicates what level of castle it is. Gomo Nishikawa, I guess the fantasy characters ended up in this game. Based on how I set things. So this is considered like a palace, like a super high-end place. But these guys, like a clan like this is not going to be able to rule a country. So it's not just ruling Kyoto, you have to rule Kyoto and also be like really powerful. I'm kind of curious about these guys now though, so let's... They've got a super sweet logo with that bird symbol. The Rokaku clan. You don't really get to learn anything about them from the screen, honestly. It's just that they're neutral. They've got however many officers they got. Their daimyo is Sadayori Rokaku. Could look him up. Okay, Yoshiharu Ashikaga is the shogun. So he's the Omi daimyo. He supported Shogun Yoshiharu Ashikaga's escape to Omi and became vice chancellor. He tried to implement the one castle per territory rule. But I guess I should be looking up the shogun, who actually is in game, Ashikaga Yoshiharu. The 12th shogun of the Muromachi shogunate. He fled to Omi after losing to Nobunaga Miyoshi's Awa forces. He later returned, then came to odds with Harumoto Hosokawa and quit the shogunate. So, the Ashikaga are the shogun's family, but I think... So where is Kyoto? Because there's no location, it's just called Kyoto. Oh, Nijo Palace. I think Nijo Palace is considered the capital. Even though that doesn't seem to be where the actual... No, never mind, he's at... Well, anyway, like this... Like, Kyoto's in here. My Japanese geography ain't perfect, but, So what's supposed to happen in the story, we're going to have various adventures as we... The Takeda, at their highest point, control a bunch of, like, this mountainous and valley regions here. And they're famous as this warrior clan with this great cavalry. But, like, they never end up ruling, like, the Kanto. I'll talk about the Kanto in various videos. I'm sure I've talked about it before. It's like the breadbasket of Japan. This is what makes the Hojo so freaking unbeatable in scenarios where the Hojo haven't been wiped out by story events. They end up taking over this whole territory and having these incredibly good cities churning out gold and food and troops. But the Takeda are supposed to kind of take over this region, and eventually they start getting a chance to expand, challenging the Oda and the Matsudaira, and becoming competitors trying to take over the land, but only after the Imagawa launched their failed bid to take the capital. So the Imagawa are going to try to march right through the Oda territory. They are going to be basically undone overnight by this like crushing defeat against Nobunaga himself at the Battle of Okahazama. And then that opens up story things for the Takeda to go forward. So we've got quite a few story events before we get to that. But in an off-screen, I've got a separate save slot I'm keeping when I'm just like burning through turns quickly to see if the historical events are going to work. The Oda get wiped out before the Imagawa even attack them. We have to have the Matsudaira and like various other clans. Like, part of the problem here is we got Honganji, which is this these weird like monks. This game treats them as one samurai clan that's spread across the country. But you've got these Buddhist warrior monks who were a thorn in Nobunaga's side for much of his career, but it looks like they're actually like taking over the Oda territory instead of just like hanging around refusing to pay taxes and becoming a thorn. You've got this logo, which looks just enough like the Matsudaira castle or Matsudaira logo to confuse me. These are the Azai. Yeah, so there's all this stuff that goes on. Nobunaga decides he wants to go to war with the Asakura. The Azai and the Asakura are allied. Nobunaga marries his sister to Nagamasa. They're all characters in Samurai Warriors, blah, blah, blah. But no, none of this stuff happens because basically the Oda end up getting collapsed. In this other save slot I've got, where the AI is just able to run rampant and doesn't have to follow history, the Oda get crushed before they get started, and that screws up the historical events. The Asakura never march against the Oda and get defeated at Okahazama, which means that the Takeda never get out of their, they never get their storyline out of this alliance that's going to be forming and blah, blah, blah. So we need to be paying very close attention to this, because what's probably going to have to happen in this Let's Play is I'm probably going to play up to a certain point, and then similar to what we did in the last playthrough with the Date, I played through and did a bunch of early Date events, and then created a new save file. Like, that we started a different scenario, and like, I just kind of jokingly said, oh, okay, I guess the castles have warped their locations and the officers have lost some of their experience, but we started from a new point where I could play through the rest of the events, because we just had this scenario where we couldn't get all of the events in one playthrough. We might have to do the same thing here. I might play through the initial stuff, and then we'll have to jump into a later starting point where possibly we'll lose territory we've taken, but we will be able to have the Battle of Okahazama, because the Oda need to last, because the second half of the Takeda events that are programmed into the game are going to involve the Matsudaira, who will later become Tokugawa, and the Oda. But for now, let's just get back to the game. We'll figure out what's going to happen. We just need to be keeping an eye on the situation with the Oda, and bear in mind, any of these things we're doing, they may not be as permanent as you would think. Also, this isn't why I did it, but I was thinking taking Hachiyoshi Castle from the Tojo Yamamoto. Taking it from the Hojo might have messed things up. It doesn't. Like, this is fine. We didn't break anything with this. What breaks our historical path is if the AI Oda get crushed before certain events happen that are supposed to propel them to being powerful and, you know, power and glory. Alright, so let's get on with some turns here. We got Froxis Neeloc has been making these little comments about how happy she is to work for the dear leader. Makes me feel like I'm Kim Jong-un. But, oh boy, we have so much more money in the save game that I was playing, where we've done all this advancing. For now, this place, we could get a Buddhist temple or a tea retreat. Or I could just go for population increase. We've got a sally port. We don't have a turret. I don't think I'm going to worry too much about getting a... the Buddhist temple is going to involve us getting... Yeah, I don't think I'm going to worry about trying to get a Buddhist temple. I think we're going to build a large gate so that we'll get more population increase here. Froxis Neeloc is the overseer. Just to give her something to do, though. Oh wait, I think we want politician. Well, I don't know which of these traits is better. Politician or I think minister is actually good. Let's have Froxis Neeloc do it. She won't be overseer for a minute, but this will make the population here grow faster. She'll start upgrading immediately.
Ask for anything you want.
House's restaurant. We've got like no gold. Can't really afford to sell any food either. So let's just... work on our development. Fuji Yoshida Castle is going to max out eventually. I don't have that many. Like with this other save file, I've been blitzing through, but I also actually did like we've got a much bigger, more impressive empire in this other save. So I'd forgotten just how far I've advanced things. And there is Yojiro Bayushi, who the guy who created that character is complaining he hasn't done much. This is kind of what is going to be happening. Like, just being a castle lord and developing a castle might be the main thing that your guy does. Like, he's not necessarily going to be involved in dramatic story dialogue, so be prepared for that. In the long run, like things I've done off screen while goofing around, using Grimmeth because he has like incredible, like his stats are built for this. I built bases. Like I built a base down here just to sort of annoy the Hojo. They don't have. I built a base up here because we've actually got a little bit of flat territory to expand. They don't end up having special resources like gold mines and shit. But if you use a character who's really good at building castles, you can build castles with like you can see Tsuchigasaki. Like you can see it's got, for space, it has like, is that 5 and 5 inches? It's got 12 space for building shit, whereas other bases like Fujiyoshida Castle has 7. So you can have a thing where you've got like something like 12 or like close to 15 spaces for building castle stuff. So you can build all sorts of cool ass castle stuff. If you get a master castle builder to build your base and you find a piece of land where there's actually space where things can be done. So it's pretty cool. But we're nowhere near having the ability to do that now. We just don't have enough gold or labor. So let's just advance the turn. The Nagao clan is taking stuff over. Shimazu clan are on the move. And the Hojo don't seem that interested in fighting us. You're always playing a little bit on easy mode when you give yourselves these powerful created officers, but it's a bit strange here. What makes the Takeda good is that they have good military officers to start. And what makes them bad is that they don't have very good cities as far as piling up gold and food. So we kind of made ourselves better at the only thing we're already good at. I guess we've got good domestic officers to develop our cities. So it is still a bit of easy mode to be using all these created officers. But that harvest was wide and bountiful, but that doesn't really impact us at all. It seems to be impacting a couple of clans in the center.
Your orders?
And also...
Here's last month's balance.
We actually... okay, we didn't make any money. We lost just a little bit of money over the course of that turn.
Reporting in.
We had our harvest of rice. That's the main thing. We didn't have any food to sell because we were like one turn short of the harvest. We still don't want to sell food right now because food is plentiful and won't sell for much. But I was just, whoever these guys are, the Echigo Uesugi, they've got the Ashina trying to take them out though. And the Nagao, yeah, they're having a hard time, but they have like, the game does tend to throw like color variations of the daimyo clans when there's like a civil war going on or something. So those Uesugi are at war with other Uesugi. Oh, I see. Dosan Saito is trying to take over Nagashima Castle. If he succeeds, that may be his first step towards crushing the Oda. But I am interested in, like, I'm really hoping things go better for the Oda than they did last time. Okay.
What would you like?
I think they want us to buy horses or sell food. I'm not interested in doing either right now. We don't have anyone conducting diplomacy with the Imperial Court. We should probably be doing that. Uncle Baldo... Well, we'll have Grimmeth Reaper do it for now, because I don't have enough money to build castles, so we'll have Grimmeth Reaper throwing our money at the Imperial Court. None of this will mean anything if I end up having to start a new save game in a different scenario after we've advanced the story. If the Oda get killed and we have to just start anew in a new scenario to see all the historical events, our standing with the Imperial Court won't matter, but theoretically. Let's be trying to... do a decent job. So I'm kind of I'm getting 6 labor each turn. I'm sort of ignoring Fuji Yoshida Castle because I do know from off-screening a bit. It fairly quickly reaches maximum development. Like, it can't grow but so far, and we actually get it as good as it's going to get pretty early, so I'm not rushing to get there, because I know it'll get there on its own. We added a workshop at Hachiyoji Castle. So this is a fairly dull domestic type of video so far. A lot of excitement in the last video.
Let us begin the meeting.
Let's begin the
last
meeting.
month's balance.
We've actually made some money this turn by not doing major projects, even with the addition of diplomatic expense.
Reporting in.
Now I should check and see, where the hell are we with our quests? Invading the Suwa. Break the marriage alliance with the Suwa clan. Okay. So I gotta bear that in mind. We've got a long time to get this done, but the story isn't going to advance until we break our marriage alliance. That's a lot of gold spent. We've got 11. That's a lot of gold. I do need to get that stuff done, though. We've got Froxis to do it. So I split that between 2 officers to get it done more quickly. And I'll know that when we've got a little bit more money saved up, we are going to want to... we're going to want to get that last bit of road work done as well. It's going to be challenging to come up with different names for this. I guess, you know, I should jot down potential names for videos right after I finish. This one could be Roadwork, the video.
Your orders.
Templar.
Last month's balance.
Alright. Spent a little bit more than we made there. I'll keep a level head and continue to improve this road that I've been assigned to improve. You're damn right you will. Those are your orders, Templar. I'll show you the awesome power of occasionally remembering that we can auto-do some of this stuff. So we're just going to whip through a turn. We don't have a lot of... Alright, so we have had base growth due to road improvement. And we're focusing in on our new castle. We've added a fair.
Let
Pretty
us
cool.
begin the meeting. Here's last month's balance. Reporting in.
And again, we actually spent more than we made. And now, Hachiyoji Castle, we're done. I decided I didn't care about a facility, so we've got a large gate and a residence, which are both meant for population growth. Then an earthen wall and a sally port, and we can't have a whole lot here. I was never going to be able to get an enclosure thing because it just takes up too many slots, and you need to have high-end walls. I guess I could have like sacrificed a residence to get an enclosure, but whatever. The point is, we've got a sally port in case we get snuck up on. Otherwise, I didn't go in for making it extra defensible. But between Large Gate and Earth Wall, it's got, you know, decent hit points for a castle that size. And we're just going to have to make sure we actually have troops to defend it. But the fact that it's got a sally... I could have done a turret instead of a sally port. But, I think we've kind of intimidated the Hojo a bit. Like, with our... it's not me being that brilliant a player. With these created officers, it's very tough to beat us in a straight-up fight. Like, an enemy would have to exhaust our troop counts because we're going to win a lot of the straight-up one-on-one engagements. So let's go and see... Hachioji can't build anything, but Nakano can now build something here. Our resource is horses, which means we're going to build a ranch. District is much more suitable for conscripts. Horses become even cheaper. And we could potentially build a riding grounds here. So I do want to bear that in mind. So we'll get Jaxor's Baldo to do that. Can't do this while repairing the wooden fence. I think maybe I'm supposed to have... Well, to get a better tension, like, okay, so if I want to eventually get a horse thing here, which I do, I guess I need to have an earthen wall before I can build an advanced tension. So I've got nothing here. I've got a couple slots to work with. I could get earthen wall will leave me with 5 slots to play with. Residence would leave me with only 2 slots to play with. So one of those 2 slots could be Horsey Town. So can I afford... Well, it's a lot of our money spent there, but if we get that wall going, like eventually we can build up this place to grow faster. The question is, can this place ever support a riding grounds? Will it ever have high enough? Because, you know, you have to have a minimum amount of crafts, agriculture, and conscripts, and that little base there might never have enough. But we could try. Conscript seems to be where things get lost in the shuffle. But I think we're going to have a fairly peaceful year here of trying to get our stuff built up. Rakuro Mochizuki appears to be conspiring with someone. And so does Maso. Everybody's conspiring with someone. A ranch has been constructed. Perhaps that will calm everyone down. So it's a boy. I'll have him take the name of Yoshinobu when he comes of age. I've got to pay my respects at Suwa Shrine. So I've gained the Earthworks expert traits, and I'm actually not the guy who's conspiring with people, oddly enough.
Here's last month's balance.
So we spent more than we made this turn. Rokuro Mochizuki has been meeting with another clan. Do watch out. Masoko Hayami has been meeting with another clan. Do watch out. So, Rokuro and Masako, eh? Yeah, she expresses discontent on occasion, seems to hold a slight dissatisfaction. All of her loyalty modifiers are positive. So somebody, I don't know. She's been out there crushing the Hojo. I guess it makes sense the Hojo are trying to hire her. In the meantime, this guy, I don't think he doesn't think he'll get along too well with his new master. But he's one of the Sanita's 10 warriors. Like, he's a guy that we actually, I guess, hired from a clan we took over. And he's just being a jerk. But he is also, of those guys we got from clans we took over, one of the best. Like, he doesn't really stack up that well against our super over-the-top created officers. But he's like a really good military officer. And he's acting kind of busy. Maybe we'll get him to slow his roll. Maybe we'll get him to know his role and shut his mouth. For now, I'm going to call it a video. And when we come back next time, we have time. The smart thing to do is not rush the story. But I do also have a feeling that if we complete the story, like, we might be jumping ahead in time to the Battle of Okayazama if I run out of story things to do and the Oda have gotten themselves crushed. Catch you guys next time.